Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the C-Man, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the C-Man's Cinema Sit Down. I got some moms with me. Last time Mom was here, we were doing, I think it was Doctor Strange on my birthday weekend and Mother's Day weekend, but ironically, fast forward like a month, and now I'm paying off my Mother's Day gift by taking Mom to see a movie that she was very excited about a week before it comes out. She always
Almost 2 weeks.
yeah, I'm always like out on these early exclusives. I was like, Mom, I'm gonna be off. I'm home. Why don't you come with me? Because I don't know this guy. I know this guy's music. This woman lived this man's life. She was a teenager. 17, you said, when he died? That's crazy.
Yeah.
There's things, I learned things in this, like he died at 42. I would have sworn to you that Elvis was 50 or 60 based on what I know. So that's how little I know. And that's one of the things that I liked about this movie. But let's not waste any more time. Why don't you pull up a chair, take a seat. We are getting ready, of course, to dive in to Baz Luhrmann's Elvis. Now, as I said, I don't know much about the man. I wanted to come in because I know the music, and it certainly looked like Austin Butler was putting on a hell of a performance, which, trust me, he does. But we're going to start with Mom, because one, I know you don't like to stand here where I talk for 25 minutes, and two, you're the person who lived Elvis. So first and foremost, what was this like for you?
It drove me to tears. Very few things make me cry. This made me cry. Made my heart pound sometimes because those performances, I can remember them as a kid watching them on television. And yeah, Austin Butler, mind-boggling, so good. When he turns sideways, you're looking at Elvis.
All right, now,
I can't.
Mom's giving you good stuff now, but she was giving me better stuff in the theater. Give me like your thoughts of the movie in general, because I know it wasn't working for you initially, but there were aspects of the start that you kind of liked.
It was very chaotic, and I know some of that's Baz Luhrmann. And when I was first watching it, and in the chaos, I wasn't sure I was loving it, but then I started to feel like this was probably how it felt for Elvis. So maybe we were getting what Elvis's life actually felt like when all of these things were happening so quickly at a time when none of this kind of stuff was really, it was so new to the world and the country. And then once he, did his little military stint, and then he comes back, then it was just like, that was what I can vividly remember as a kid, watching all those specials and seeing Elvis, and Austin Butler was Elvis. Like every aspect of his shoulders, his movements, amazing, absolutely amazing, so good.
Excellent. What was now this is non-spoiler, but I mean, it's Elvis's life, right? What can you really spoil? It's out there already. School. What was your favorite? What was your favorite scene or moment of the movie? I know there were so many. Sitting next to this woman, there were moments like they really do a great job of showing you what Elvis did to women. I swear to God, at least 3 times during the movie, Mom was like, like she was getting excited, and that's what Austin Butler's poured into it. So what moment got you the most, Mom?
The red stage, because I just, as soon as you saw him like walk, I just knew where he was going and what was going to happen, and it was like reliving it a second time around. It was pretty cool. That was really cool.
Are you glad you came out tonight?
I'm very glad.
Did you have a good time?
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Yes.
Cool. Mom's Day present success. All right, we're going to let Mom slip away so that she doesn't have to stand on camera the whole time, because I know that she hates it. But I love that Mom's here, and she gives such good insight, man. I mean, it's one of those things where, for me, this movie is very Baz Luhrmann. If you were not a Baz Luhrmann fan, I don't think you're going to like this movie. And at times, the movie's a little too Baz Luhrmann for me, specifically in the beginning of the movie. The transitions, the way he's telling the story, there's like casino elements in the open. It's very, very jarring. It moves very, very quick. And like there was just times where I was like, I don't really know what's happening. But I think, like my mom said, once this movie kind of settles in, the beginning really does give you, like the first performance is one of my favorites, because it really demonstrates what it is that Elvis did to people, not just women, but just people in general. I mean, you saw men screaming out there sometimes. Like it was magnetic, and for someone who didn't experience that, to see it on the screen the way it's portrayed, love what Luhrmann does. I do think the chaos of Elvis goes on a little too long in the first act, and the first act is where most of my issues hit. One of the other things, too, is Tom Hanks is in this movie. He's fantastic. He is diabolically evil. But the Colonel, who's Elvis's manager and really kind of ran Elvis's life his whole career, and many people blame him for Elvis's death because he just worked him to the point where his heart gave out. But I just felt like there was a little too much of him. His perspective is one of the main perspectives of the movie. But once you kind of get out of that first act and it kind of settles more into Austin Butler and Elvis's story, I think this thing really starts to take off. And like, I just feel like I learned so much about a man that I didn't really know anything about. And the concept, like I was saying to my mom in the theater, it's one of these things where you see some of these other movies when the artist is a black artist. And you constantly see people, we can't put this on television. Oh man, what these black people are doing to these white church girls. And it was like, being potentially arrested or kicked out of places. And that's Elvis's life. I mean, the man grew up in a black neighborhood with black friends. One of my favorite things I learned, spoilers, he's a Captain Marvel, AKA Shazam. Not the Marvel Captain Marvel, the DC Captain Marvel, but who's now Shazam. He was a comic book fan. Grew up with all these black kids, loved gospel music, rhythm and blues. I mean, that is what his music is. And then you see him live the things that all the white dads were afraid of, man, because he's able to get in front of a camera, and now he's doing all the stuff that black artists were doing. And one of the other things, too, that's crazy is, like, you see him talking to B.B. King, and they're talking about an artist, and he's like, oh, man, I want to record that song. Like, people just recorded each other's music, and a lot of things that were super famous from Elvis weren't necessarily his. And that's probably my favorite moment of the movie is when you finally see him. He kind of puts together this whole Christmas special. That was where I was like, you could probably hand Austin Butler the Oscar right now. Like, that was the moment where I was like, oh my gosh, like, he's a musical genius. He's not just a man you put on stage. And one of the things I think is tough, and you definitely get with the Tom Hanks character of the Colonel, is like Elvis could have been something special because he was a rarity that could bring black and white people together at a time that was so, racially segregated. I mean, you're talking about Martin Luther King and the Kennedys and, Malcolm X. All that stuff is going on in and around this time. And like Elvis was somebody who literally brought people together. One of the performances you see him, they have like the segregated rope, and you got all these white people on one side and all these black people on the other side. And it almost felt like the audience just wanted the rope to go away so they could all have a good time. And it's one of those things you kind of feel like you lost that with him because the Colonel forced him to be a performer. And that's the stuff that I think the movie does really, really well and really gets across. And I guess if there's one other thing, I'd kind of knock it, the length. It's a little too long. It's 2.5 hours. That first act pacing is a little off and a little too Baz Luhrmann-y at times. He has some weird musical things where he brought in like modern day music, which kind of threw me out of the movie a couple times. But it's a little too long for me. But overall, I really dug it. So let's bring Mom back in. Let's give this bad boy a score. Get C Maniacs up. Mom, you were up first. You lived the man. You just watched Austin Butler perform as the man. What's your score for Elvis?
Okay, so I give Austin Butler like a 10, and I give the movie a 4.5.
All right. I can ride with a 4.5. I'd imagine Elvis people are gonna connect that way.
Yeah.
For me, I'm a movie guy. I got like the technical elements. Like I said, I think Luhrmann is a little too Luhrmann at times. He does take you out of the movie here and there. Most of that is in the first act, settles in the second act. This guy, I mean, he's headed to Oscar nominations at minimum. There is a moment in the movie at the end where they show an actual piece of Elvis's performance, and they cut from Butler to Elvis. It took me about 5 seconds to realize that they had cut to the actual Elvis, both from his voice to his performance. Like, it's spot on. And one of the things that you lose in something like Bohemian, Rami Malek doesn't sing. Austin Butler is doing everything here. He is tremendous. Tom Hanks, as much as I hate the Colonel in this movie and I wanted a little bit less of him, also tremendous. I mean, the performances across the board, I don't remember who the actor was, but whoever played Lisa Marie, drastically underutilized in the movie, but every time she pops up, or Priscilla. Yeah, who did I say?
Lisa Marie's
Oh, that's his daughter, yeah. See, I don't know anything. But the woman who played Priscilla, I mean, that was one of those things where she didn't get a lot of time, but every time she was on, it was like, I know that version of Priscilla or that version of, they got the look down so well, and she gets one moment that she really rocks. So for me, I'm not gonna go 4.5. I'm gonna go 3.5. It needed to be a little bit shorter, and I think you could have tightened this up, and I think it could have been a little bit more dramatic. I didn't feel like Butler was really acting. because he just inhabits, or not acting, he inhabits Elvis so well. But it didn't feel like I was getting a performance outside of like the music until about halfway through. And then when he gets some dramatic moments, wow, this kid is unbelievable. But some of that was a little shaky, and there were some elements I wish we could have dived into a little bit more as someone who didn't know anything. But I mean, from what I know, I experienced Elvis out here, and I definitely learned a bunch of things. So 3.5 for me, 4.5 for the real Elvis fan from my mom. That's all we got, man. We have said everything we gotta say about Baz Luhrmann's Elvis. Now it's your turn. What are you thinking? Give us all your thoughts, good, bad, indifferent on Elvis. If you're excited to see it coming up, obviously we got a early access screening, so we saw it a little early. So anything you got, man, down in the comments section below. Look forward to talking to you guys down there. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up. And if you're new, you haven't yet, you want to see anytime we're talking with mom or anybody from my family, we actually have a fun video for you Boys fans out there. My parents have never seen The Boys. I showed them the termite scene, and I recorded it. That's on its way, man. You want to be here for all that stuff? You haven't yet? You want to show a little love and support to this guy or to this lady because she loves me so damn much? Jump over there, man. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that little bell if you want those alerts. Until next time, for the C-Man Cinema Sit Down, that's been Moms. I've been the C-Man. We're signing off. Peace.
Oh, hey, what's going on? You must be sticking around because you're looking for more content featuring this guy. Well, guess what? You're in the right place. You can check out more videos right here and right here. And if you have and you want to come join that C-Maniac Nation, you can hit that subscribe right over there.